Hi everyone, this is Ray. I am back again with another episode of Inspiration in Isolation. I don't know what episode this is. You'll see it when I finally do the edit. But I'm excited today because I have a good friend of mine for many years. This is Rhys. Rhys, say hello.
Hey, hello everybody.
And you're probably wondering why I've got Rhys on. You don't even know who he is. Obviously, for those who have been watching and following and listening, I've created a series of videos called Inspiration in Isolation because myself has been in isolation for the last few days. So I thought, why not create some video content, some, I guess, inspirational talks of people that can add value to not only our lives, but those around us as well. So if you like this video, share it, link it. I don't know, whatever you want to do, just get it out there. But it's not about me today. I want to speak directly to my bro, Rhys. Rhys, well, let me start off by this, Rhys. We've known each other since primary school, right? Would that be right?
So I was in primary school when you were in the Joseph musical in high school. And that was my first memory of you, Ray. Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
That's it, man.
I'm one of the brothers, I think.
Yeah, I was. It was me. It was like Brian. It was Joey Gray. It was Jakal. It was Murph. It was the whole squad. Man, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, so I was one of the adoring primary schoolers looking up at you from the stage. I was some extra on the side.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Man, wow. There you go. Well, hey, my acting career ended there in school. But hey, what a memory to have. That's crazy. So then, were we ever in high school together? That's what I want to know.
I don't think so.
No, I guess we've always been around in the same.
We were at college together.
College together, yeah. We're at uni together down at Avondale College there, down in New South Wales.
We hit up that Bronx game in our wetsuits.
Yeah, that's right, we did. So hey, anything you need to know about Rhys and I, we are obsessed Bronco diehard fans. Who was it against? The Roosters. I remember it was the Roosters.
Life. Yeah, it was just drenching with rain. Right. And we're like, we're still going. So we grabbed a few boys, chucked the wetties on, sat in the front row. The cameras were on us all night. They were loving it. That's right.
They were loving it. We just kept on dancing. It's like, boys, just keep dancing and the cameras will focus on us. Hey, I resurrected my TV acting career again in college. So.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Maybe this is the resurrection again today, Ray.
Hey, you never know. You never know. So from there, I graduated in 2010 from uni in dorms. And where were you? Had you left by then?
So after we left each other in college, I started my medical career there. I started studying medicine down in Canberra.
Okay, so you went straight from our uni, and you were studying science at uni? Or?
To be honest, I was bumming around, right?
Yeah, you were. I just remember you playing sport and gaming and doing all. I was like, Rhys, man, he must be really smart, man. Like he
doesn't need to study.
He doesn't need to study. He's one of those guys I envy. He just looks at a text. I'm like, yeah, got it. Wow.
I failed all my subjects there. But we got back into it.
You got back into it. So yeah, what happened after we were at university together? I graduated, moved on. Did you just wake up one morning and just went, I'm going to go to Canberra to do this medical thing? How did that come about? Yeah,
so look, to be honest, no one really destines their life to go to Canberra. It's almost like a punishment. It was never a goal of mine, but my goal was to get into medicine. And that's where they offered me a position. And so I did a bit of soul searching, but eventually I just decided that is where I was supposed to be. So I went down to Canberra and stayed there for 4 years. And following that, I started working back in my homeland of Brisbane, where we both are now. I've been working into my 5th year now.
Okay. And so I'm just interested, like I have a great relationship with you. Like you've always been just a dude that loves people, always loving, like you always love to help people. And it seems like a sort of a natural connection with like going in the medical industry and being able to have a heart to help people. Did that help you get through sort of your course and going, yeah, I have a purpose. I know what I want to do. I know how I want to help people.
Yeah, that's certainly something that leads you down the line of medicine. There, a lot of people go into it for different motives and different reasons, whether that's, job stability, whether that's money, whether that's a heart to serve and heal people. Um, it was, for me, growing up, I was always an academic type of person, but I was also quite social. And often the adults around me in my life, through my church, through my friends, through my family, they would say, you should think about being a doctor, Rhys. I reckon you'd be pretty good. And so that was always in the back of my mind. I was going to do engineering, actually, because I just loved maths. But that niggling was always there, and I couldn't get rid of it.
Yeah.
So I ended up going down the path of medicine, mainly not just because of that, but also because I really did want to do something that I could use to help others, to benefit others, to bring joy to others. So that's probably my personal motivation for getting into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I imagine, because I know you, like, the movie Patch Adams or Robin Williams, like,
Yeah.
are you that kind of doctor? Like, I see you like in bits and pieces, obviously not as, I don't know if you're as crazy as he was, but you just seem like that type of GP, like someone sits in the chair and you're like, how's it going? And they'll probably be surprised when you're genuinely asking, no, how are you? Has that happened a few times?
Yeah. You have to be versatile as a GP.
Okay.
You're seeing all types of people. You're seeing those little kids that just want to play with you, and I love that. I guess I do resonate with Patch Adams from that perspective. But you see an old man whose wife has just died, and you can't lead in strong with that kind of thing. You've got to really be a good listener in that situation, and so you do have to be versatile. But the biggest joy in my job comes from when you do actually form friendships and good relationships and running jokes with your different clients and pick up on each other's idiosyncrasies and play off them. So that's certainly something that I like.
Yeah. And definitely I can just affirm that, like, you're totally gifted. Like, you're totally meant to be where you're supposed to be. Like, I see when I say, yeah, Rhys is a doctor, I'm like, that makes sense. It just makes sense.
Oh, thanks, Ray.
Like, I've seen you and operate in many capacities, obviously through Stormco's, and Stormco's, for those who are watching, it's just like, sort of like during holiday uni breaks, we go out with a group of like youth to some sort of, small town out in outback Australia, and we just do service projects. And I've seen you operate in that capacity. I've seen you operate with your youth groups as well. And so, yeah, it just makes sense. I'm interested to know, Rhys, like, when you did you decide to come back to Brisbane, or were you looking for a placement here? How does it work in the medical field?
Yeah, look, it was a miracle, right? It's really hard to get a job in a different state to the state that you've studied in. And so basically I risked it. I threw my lot out there, and I said, I'm just going to be without a job. They gave all of the Queensland internship jobs away. And I was just crossing my fingers that one of them would renege on their offer so that they could go down to Sydney, where their hometown was, or go down to Melbourne. So, people get their initial offers, and then there's a bit of chopping and changing, and it's a bit of a risk. So I got really lucky. I got a Gold Coast hospital internship, which is a wonderful hospital for those that haven't been there. And medicine, once you finish that first year, you're kind of a free agent. You have a lot more freedom to do whatever specialty areas that you're interested in. So I did a bit of obstetrics, and then I went to the kids hospital in Brisbane, worked 6 months there. And then I decided that, hospital is good, but those night shifts were just draining me. Hey, it was, affecting my life at home. It was affecting my energy levels. I was getting sick more often. And so I really wanted a day job, and GP is a big part of that. And GP, to be honest, was always in the back of my mind.
Yeah. Okay.
But that really confirmed it. Then I jumped into the GP realm, and I've loved it.
Yeah. And so 5 years in, obviously, you're now placed. Yeah. Where are you allowed to say where you're placed? Like where you're?
Yeah.
Because
So,
like the area you work in, I just crack up because that's the area I sort of like grew up in.
yeah. So I'm working in Logan at an Aboriginal. Yeah.
So it's an Aboriginal clinic, did you say?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, I've been there for just over a year now, and yeah, it's pretty different to mainstream medicine. Hey, we get longer consultations with our patients. We get to spend more time with them.
Yeah.
Often there's more complex health issues that we go through, and yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And so, hey, look, obviously, like the one of the big things I thought about with you is with all this whole thing that's happening at the moment with COVID, the coronavirus. How has that changed the land? Like, I guess there's a few things I want to ask. Maybe the first question is, how has that impacted, I guess, your work, or sort of like your colleagues, the conversations, and like how that'll probably be the first question I'll ask.
Look, Ray, let's just say that about a week ago I had a full head of hair. Look, to be honest, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this thing. It's changing every day. It's not a normal world when the Prime Minister's taken over the TV every second night to give some announcements. And the medical profession is right in the middle of that. We're getting updates from the Queensland government. We're getting updates from the College of General Practitioners. We've got some great leaders within our organisation as well that are keeping on top of those things and relaying those messages down to us. But, our clinics are changing where the nurses are now seeing people outside, and, I'm wearing a mask way more during the day than I used to.
Yeah.
There's lots of changes. We've now got telehealth consultations.
Oh, wow.
So right now, the government has funded for us to be able to do those consultations over the phone, or just like we're doing right now, we could do a Zoom telehealth consultation.
Wow.
So you could show me the rash under your arm, and I could take a look at it on the screen.
What's this one called, bro?
It's a pimple, mate. No substance to that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing these, and so at the moment it's funded for like elderly people, people with chronic diseases. But as of Monday, they've just announced that anyone can do it.
Oh, wow.
So this whole coronavirus, we're just trying to keep people away from other people, and mixing of diseases always happens at the general practice or at the hospital. So I think it's a smart move to just try and phone your GP or video call your GP. And if that's enough, then great. It means you haven't had to expose yourself to the virus.
And that's probably one of the biggest things as well, not in terms of myths, but, dispelling any fear behind it. Like, obviously, when people come in to see you, and if it is about the coronavirus or people call in, is it a general, like, they're fearful of the coronavirus? Are they just coming in to get an appointment to check if they have it? They're not too sure. What's the vibe amongst clients?
Yeah, look, it's a completely natural response to have fear to something like this. Like, we're in a time that is unprecedented. No one's been through this before. Well, Italy, you look at Italy and you see what's happening to them, it makes you fearful. It's a normal response, and I think we're going to see it more and more, especially, with all these jobs being laid out. People are going to be fearful about where they're going to get their money from now, and whether they're going to get a job back after this. So, fear is a normal response, and that's why everyone should have a doctor, or some really strong support network, or a community group, or a church, people that they can connect with and encourage each other. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. one of the interesting things, like obviously you shared with me an article just explaining some of the terminologies,
Mm,
and perhaps some of our viewers and our listeners today are still uncertain. Like obviously I've just said it off the cuff, like I'm self-isolated, but after I read that article you sent me, it was just a really
yeah,
clear-cut article. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I don't even actually fall under any of these categories. Like, so yeah,
yeah.
based on that article, like, what can you share in terms of the myths behind what people are using the terminologies for?
Yeah. So if you want to look at two of the key words, one's quarantine and one's isolating. So Ray, you at the moment you're quarantined because you don't have coronavirus, but you're staying home in your house unless it's essential that you go out. Isolating is when you are in the house, not talking to anyone. Well, not talking, not seeing anyone. You're in your own room. You got your own toilet. You got your own rubbish bin. All that kind of stuff. That's isolating because it almost goes back to primary school days where it's boy germs and girl germs. Anything you've touched, that's now Ray germs. We
Wow.
don't want to pass those on. So
Wow.
it gets pretty serious once it gets into the isolation stage. But
Yeah.
everybody's got a different context, like
Yeah.
whether they've picked up relatives from overseas, whether they're living with somebody who had it a week ago or something like that. So this article is really good for you if you're somewhere in that grey and you're like, well, where do I sit? What do I do? Just have a read of that article.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll drop the link underneath
That'll be
this.
good. Yeah.
Are there some, look, as a general population person, um, I'm listening to the news constantly. I'm being fed a whole bunch of information, and I'm thinking to myself, and you can probably understand. I'm like, what am I supposed to read on? Like, who am I getting all the information from? Is there somewhere where you can send us like in terms of the medical, like, a few websites or maybe one that you say, hey, this is where generally most of the stuff you need to know about the updates and stuff?
Yeah. See, the media and our social media is filled with alternative views. Um, Very rarely will we see the government websites and the official websites get posted up because that's a bit boring, really. We like something that will get you likes and get you comments and
Yeah.
start conversations. So a
Yeah.
lot of the alternative views are getting posted online.
Yeah.
That's not where you should get your facts most of the time. Obviously, there are facts that get
Yeah.
put up there, and you can't be absolute with this kind of thing. As a general rule, for me personally, I'm still getting my head around this, and I just have to have faith and trust and pray over the leadership of our country and the leadership of the leaders behind the leaders in our country.
Yeah.
There are big teams there, and if we all follow uh, the plan
Yeah.
that's set out by the leaders above, then
Yeah.
we're in the best stead than if everybody does what they think they should do.
Yeah.
Um, so in terms of uh, websites, when you're looking for websites on the internet, look at orgs, look at govs, instead
Yeah.
of .coms at the end. They tend to be better. Yeah, that's
That's a
a brief way
general.
of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some good websites if you want to Google the Johns Hopkins University. They've got coronavirus statistics. And they've got an interactive map if you're into those kind of things. But really, that could be pushing more fear into people. Like, why do we need to know statistics? It's mainly the leaders and the statisticians that need to know that.
Yeah.
So be careful about what you consume. Um,
I love that. That's so true, bro. Like, we made not a rule, but I just had a chat to my wife this morning and said, look, the only time I'm going to actually watch the TV is in the morning, just because usually by the morning, turn on any news
yeah,
channel, it's the latest from, hey, this is the brand new thing for today. And then I'll probably watch, if I do watch a little bit in the evening.
yeah,
And then in between, obviously, because, I'm at home, so I'm not always on social media, but just you're seeing things come across it. Then I sort of like, okay, I'll just wait. I won't act on it too much. But, by making that decision to not fully immerse yourself in it, it does reduce the amount of panic and anxiety you have. Because you can just sit in front of that thing, the TV, and just consume, and you just end up
Yeah.
feeling like I'm gonna die right now. Like, it's like there's no alternative.
Yeah. Yeah. I, to be honest, for myself personally, I haven't really gone through a fear or an
Yeah,
anxiety, and
yeah,
maybe that will come. Um, and it's a kind of surprising given that I'm on the front line of,
yeah,
dealing with sick people and swabbing people and that kind of thing. But um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's, I don't know why, but I'm not feeling particularly fearful. And I like what you say about, not just getting caught up in watching the TV. I was talking to one of my patients just yesterday, and they were saying, I'm not watching any now. And I think probably that's not a great move either, because we
yeah.
do need to stay
Aware.
somewhat
Yeah,
informed as to what's going on. When our Prime Minister is telling us that this, and this is changing, we do need to know that. So there needs to be a healthy balance in there.
yeah. I totally agree, and I think the more we can hold that line of being informed, but also being aware and not fearful. I think that is a bit of a healthy balance. Um, I guess one of the things that I want to ask you before we finish up is, in light of what's happening, what's probably from your perspective something that you would share to, I guess, the average person who may be at home watching things, or potentially by the end of this week, we don't know, we all could be in like
Yeah.
quarantines. Like what's your, yeah, what's a word of encouragement that you could offer and say, hey, this is some value that I can add.
Yeah, I know a lot of the other people that you talk to are big on fitness, and that's a big one for me. I think it's important to keep ourselves sane if we are isolated. And for me, and I think for most people, there are studies to prove this, that staying fit in your body will help your mind stay fit as well, and it
Yeah,
helps to allay negative emotions. I guess the other tip potentially is, if you don't have a GP, now's a good time, because you can just call one up. So everybody should, be in touch with a doctor at some point, just to, have someone there for when stuff hits the fan.
yeah, yeah, that's so true. And speaking of being fit, you're probably one of the fittest doctors I know anyway, so
Turn it up, son.
let's go. Rhys and I played at touch football. For those who are tuning in from overseas, it's sort of like, I don't know, flag football. I don't know, touch footy. I don't know, whatever.
Rugby.
Yeah, touch rugby
Without the hits, because
without
my
the hits.
shoulder's just it's a remnant.
We didn't have a too bad of a season last season, did we?
We started strong.
We started strong. That's all that matters. And then we finished. We just finished.
We finished, yeah. Well, we hit the finish line, I guess.
We were at the finish line. But yeah, that's something just to be mindful of. Like, while you're in isolation, to continue to stay fit, or reach out to someone who there's so much stuff online. I've interviewed some of people in the fitness industry you can get in contact with, and
Yeah.
so yeah, for me at home with my kids, I have a big backyard. So today we're playing, what we're playing? We're playing tag, we're playing dodgeball, which I won.
No mercy.
No mercy. I need to take my frustration out on this coronavirus, this isolation. I'm like, I'm going to throw this ball in your face. And I'm talking to my 6-year-old kid. She's like, what are you doing?
No, Daddy.
Rhys, I guess on behalf of the general population, hey, we just want to say thank you for yourself and many others who are on the front line every day. Yeah, but you are risking yourselves, but it's a job that I know that you take seriously, and that you love it, and you know that it brings peace and hope and relief to people. And so, hey, thanks again for making time available to have a chat with us. And yeah, any last remarks and thoughts?
I think only one thing, again, the medical perspective, it just consumes my mind at the moment.
Yes.
But if you are feeling fearful,
Yeah.
rather than rushing straight to the emergency department, make sure you go through those steps.
Yeah.
So you can call the coronavirus hotline,
Yeah.
you can call your GP, and they're the steps that you should be going through before you're actually needing to go to hospital. Unless you're there like, can't breathe, then go through those steps first so that we can really protect those doctors that are looking after the hospitals, because they are very busy.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Rhys, once again. That's the bro,
Yeah,
Rhys.
thanks, Ray.
Hey, anytime. I know we'll catch up soon anyway. But yeah, for those who are listening and watching, I hope that you can take something practical and tangible away from that. Be sure to look into the link below, some of the websites that Rhys has mentioned. And also, Rhys cannot be your GP. He's fully booked out. I tried before and he's like, no. But yeah, thanks, Rhys. Appreciate the conversation.
No worries, mate.
Catch ya.
See ya.